Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on two bad parents. I think that I should have done this video sooner because it probably is one of the biggest things that can get in somebody's way when it comes to wondering why the court doesn't understand how they love their kids so much and the other parent doesn't. Now, this is, of course, assuming that one of the parents is actually a loving, caring, nurturing, authentic parent. And the other one is some kind of dysfunctional, emotionally immature parent, or they have a personality disorder or something like that. If you're in a situation where there's actually two bad parents and you're one of the bad parents, this video isn't going to help you because you're not going to be able to stop. And if you're in a situation where there's two good parents, then obviously this video isn't for you because you guys are probably working things out really well with your child or children, and probably have seen the court one time and will never see the court again. So anyway, there is something that I've noticed, and that is the idea, at least after a certain amount of time, and I think I can say that this is probably because judges become jaded over time. The idea that when two parents are in conflict and they come to court because they can't agree, that they're both bad. They have to both have issues. They have to both be bad parents. Like I said, I think this is a belief that some judges have, most judges have, because they just get sick and tired of it. And it gets so difficult for them to try and pick apart both parents and wade through their sea of messages and texts and police reports and all. It's just so much work, and they just don't want to do it anymore. They become jaded and they think that there's no point to doing all the work. Both parents are screw-ups. Both parents are bad. And so why make any modification to custody? If they have joint physical custody, what's the point of severing that? It's just going to make it so that now they go from having half the time with two bad parents to having all the time, or most of the time, with just a bad parent. Or if one parent has custody and the other one wants it, they're going to think, why should I modify custody and take them away from a bad parent to give them to another bad parent? The point of this video is to let people know that you have to contrast yourself as much as possible from the other parent, even to the point of letting things go that you wouldn't normally let go. And I hate to say that because it's totally human to want to lash out at somebody who insults you or disrespects you or hurts your child. It is so normal and human to object to it and to respond with anger and rage. It's not the right thing to do to call them names and insult them back and counterattack. It's not the right thing to do, but most people understand why somebody would do it. And when it comes to, arguments in the workplace or on the street or at school, oftentimes people dish back as much as they've been, hit with. It's just normal. Most people do fight back when they get upset or attacked, and most people do lash out when they see their children being abused or neglected. The problem is that it gets used against you in court. The problem is that in situations where your opponent is a personality disordered abuser, or a person who's willing to exploit the system to satisfy whatever emotional insecurities they have, it gets used against you by them. And what ends up happening is the court can't pick apart which of you is the problem. The court can't tell. I mean, I mentioned in my last video, good judge, bad judge, that there is a tiny chance you'll get a really good judge. A good judge that cares and that will put all the work into picking apart the details and the facts and finding out which parent is provoking the other and making a decision against that parent. But most of the judges, like 95%, they don't care about their jobs. They're sick and tired of it. It's a paycheck for them to go to work and make decisions on family law cases. And they're jaded. And so they just stopped putting all that work in. So you can either complain about it and scream at the top of your lungs, lose your hearings, and your child continue to get abused and neglected, or you can just work with that dysfunction. And it sucks to have to say that, but it's something that I realized around, I think, year 3. Um, you know, when my ex would send insulting messages, try to bait me into arguments, um, try to snipe at me. So she would like respond to something and then throw in a little extra something like, "Why are you asking me that again? I told you it last week." Like she would want me to say, "You didn't tell me that," or she would want me to argue. It's like you almost you transform into like like gray rock. It's like it's gray rock communication. I'm probably gonna have to do a video on that. I don't know. I may or may not do a video on that. Um, and it's not the way most people react. Most people stand up for themselves, and most people will fight for what's right. But all it ends up coming off as is um, just two crazy parents who can't get along. And one of the things that the court ends up, using, one of their many common canned answers for when people come before the court is, you guys are both a problem. You guys are both unable to cooperate. You guys are both being unreasonable. And so when you fight back, it unnecessarily complicates the facts of the case, and you set yourself up so that whatever issues you're going to bring to the court's attention, you're going to have to prove all those issues, and you're going to have to go through all of the crazy stuff that happened and explain why you were provoked or you were responding in a reasonable way to something outrageous. It's better to just not have to do that. The less the court looks at, the simpler the case is, the less murky things are, and the easier it is to keep the judge focused on the actual issues that matter. Because, and I talk about this emphatically in the video, Fighting Fire with Fire, the other person, the personality disordered person, the emotionally immature person, that person doesn't care if they're not better than you. They're perfectly happy pulling you down to their level. They like the fight. They get off on it. It's fun for them. And so when you try and go to court and deprive them of their custody rights or impose child support or something like that, they're not going to come back with some kind of philosophical discussion about what's best for the kids. They're going to say, you do it too. You call me names. You say this about me. And it's like you're going to end up spending so much time trying to explain to the court why you reacted in the way you did, which was totally normal and what most people would have done, that the judge just gets confused and annoyed and irritated. And they already, like I said, watch my last video, Good Judge, Bad Judge. Most of the judges who go in there aren't fresh judges. They're jaded judges. And so the best thing that you can possibly do when it comes to dealing with this hang up that a lot of these family judges have is to just look completely different from what they see every day, day in and day out. Look like a parent who has not been sucked into all those arguments, who has not taken the bait and fought back. Because it's just the contrast will be so blatant and obvious that they can't help but see it, because they're gonna go, well, this guy's different. They've been attacked 27 different times and they didn't respond even once. They're not yelling back. They're not calling him names. This is different. This is not two bad parents. All of a sudden, the judge will start to pay attention. That's what I did in my case. For the first 3 years, I was responding and reacting and arguing, not understanding that I could just go to the court and get a decision made, that I had to somehow convince my ex. It's another good video. Failing to agree. It's a must-watch video. It gets you off of that mentality, that trap of thinking that you have to get the ex to agree. When it comes to a normal person, that's a great thing to do. That's what two parents who can cooperate and co-parent do. But when it comes to a high conflict child custody case with a personality disordered ex or with a emotionally immature ex, that's not going to work. So anyway, this concept of two bad parents is real, and it influences a lot of these family judges. A lot of these family judges are aware that abuse and neglect is real and that it's all over the place in the cases that come before them. They understand that a lot of the parents who work things out aren't coming back. And they kind of come to this conclusion that the parents who are coming back are problem parents. And they don't want to do anything in those cases because they feel you are both the problem. They feel you are both needing to grow up. And so the thing that you can do to really help your case is to do everything in your power to not get stuck into that, lumped into that group of parents. You want to stand apart. You want to look completely different. You want to show a sharp contrast, as sharp as you possibly can, because that's the way that you're going to make it as difficult as you possibly can for your opponent to try to say none of the stuff they're bringing up matters, because here's all these horrible things they did to me. You may think that you can go into court and explain all that away, but the patience that these judges have is thin. They don't want to spend time going, because they've gone over that stuff for years and they just can't take it anymore. They don't want to go through all that nonsense anymore. They're just going to assume you're just like all the others, that you both have issues, and they're going to get rid of you. They're going to send you to mediation. They're going to appoint all kinds of GALs and stuff. You're going to end up spending all this money, and you're not going to get anywhere. If you can just look different from all the other people who come in, you'll be amazed at how much attention you can get, even from a judge who doesn't care that much about their job, because they're going to notice, and they're not going to have to do as much work anyway, because you've already made yourself look different. It's obvious to them that you're not being sucked into the conflict, and so it's less work. And especially if you brief the court and file detailed points and authorities and brief them on the law and everything, so they don't have to go and do it themselves, because that's another thing that ends up happening a lot in these family law cases. Nobody briefs the court. People copy, the attorneys even, they just copy and paste a bunch of boilerplate language into their motions and just file it. The judges just stop reading it. And so they either end up going to do all the work themselves, or they just stop caring. Anyway, there's two ways we can approach this. One of them is, this is awful and it's unfair and the system needs to change. Well, that's true, but that's not going to help your case right now. That may possibly happen a number of years from now and help other people down the road. This channel is all about helping you help yourself in your case right now. And as crappy as what I just said is, with judges being jaded and not wanting to look into all the little tiny details anymore, crappy as it is, it's not going to help your case to just complain about it. It's going to help your case to understand it and work with it. So I really hope this video helps people. I don't mean it to be a negative video. I just think that a lot of people probably get tripped up on this one thing. This is definitely a thing in the courts. This is definitely something that I've seen with both of my family judges. Both of my family judges were the type that thought that if you're in court fighting, you both have issues. And so it was easier for me to show the second one that I was different than it was the first, because the first judge remembered all the chaos from the first 3 years. He didn't remember any details. He probably didn't even remember my name, but he remembered that it was nuts and that both of us were bickering. The second judge, as soon as she came on, I had already sort of worked out all these problems, and I figured out that I needed to look different. And so, I mean, right away I was able to show her I was different, and it really helped me at the modification hearing. If you want to see the details on that, I have a video of modifying physical custody where I explain how I modified physical custody. Anyway, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If anyone wants to post a comment on it, please do so. Post it down in the comments below. I'm sure that a lot of you people, a lot of you viewers, have gotten those canned answers before from the court, those canned instructions and stuff about you both need to figure out how to work things out, and you both have to do this. It's like they just say that. They're just reciting a script almost. It's not like they looked really carefully into your case and they figured out what makes both of you tick. They're just... anyway, you get the point. You get the idea. I think with that, I'll see you guys next time. And I was going to... Well, one more thing I wanted to mention. I can't remember now. Oh, I already mentioned it. Never mind. I'll see you guys next time.